I'm Mike,
And I'm Matt.
and this is the Coin Show.
Take just one last breath before you enter.
On this episode of the Coin Show, we talk about the 1916D Mercury dime. Matt tells us about some of the uncool things that walk into his shop. We'll answer a listener question, and we'll still talk about the coolest thing to walk into Matt's shop this week. But first, as always, the news. The news is sponsored by the American Numismatic Association. Join today at money.org/join to be part of the world's largest organization dedicated to numismatic education. A 3-coin 2015 March of Dimes special silver set will be sold this May.
I saw this. It's
Yes.
interesting.
Limited to an issue of 75,000 sets, this offering will include a proof 2015 W March of Dimes silver dollar, a reverse proof Roosevelt dime, which is minted at Philadelphia, and a West Point proof Roosevelt dime. The set will be sold for $61.95 each. Yeah.
Holy cow.
Well, it's exclusivity. You know. So what are you getting? You're getting a silver dollar and two, because I believe the dimes are silver.
Mm-hmm.
So that's all of close to an ounce.
Yeah, right.
Right.
Exactly. Almost an ounce of silver.
Almost an ounce of silver.
Probably really close. But
Now,
still.
the only coin that is going to be exclusive to this set is going to be the West Point proof dime.
Oh, so they're issuing the reverse proof in a different set?
Well, later this year, they've announced that they're coming out with a reverse proof set.
Great.
They're going to do a set all in
But
reverse
this
proof.
is silver. Is that going to be silver?
I would imagine so. You could be onto something there, but it is unusual for the Mint to produce more than one exclusive coin in each set.
Yeah. I'm just sitting here reading the story, and I read a line that says the 2 silver dimes are available only in the 3-coin set. So, I don't know.
All of the reverse proof coins up until this point have all been silver.
Mm-hmm.
So could you imagine clad reverse proof coins?
Well, it wouldn't surprise me these days, honestly.
Well, nothing surprises you anymore, and I can't really disagree with you, but I think that silver, because of its reflectivity, really lends itself to at least making the reverse proof coins look really nice. But thinking about it, you're also going to have a reverse proof Saki dollar and 4 reverse proof presidential dollars. So you're going to get your manganese brass fix in reverse proof, and there will be a reverse proof cent. So, and guarantee you the nickel is going to be nickel. So
Yeah. Well, like I said, I'm still not psyched about it, but
well, this is the first time that they've done a special Roosevelt dime, other than the '96 W circulation strike, which was kind of unspectacular in its own way.
yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. So, these I think are kind of unspectacular as well. I'm not particularly excited about it. I don't think there's anything really special about it.
Well, yeah, but besides it being the reverse proof small size coinage, other than that, I agree with you. So
The Royal Canadian Mint has a new president and CEO.
Cool.
Sandra L. Hannington, I hope I got that right, is the new master of the RCM. This is a
Is that what
position.
they call it?
Yes, they call it the Master of the Royal Canadian Mint.
Not the mint director,
Although
but the
wouldn't she,
master.
well, shouldn't she be the mistress?
I
I
don't.
just saying.
I'm not sure they would go for that, but yeah, you never know. Very crazy Canadians.
Yes, we love them. This is a position basically equal to CEO. Her most recent experience was in banking, so money related, but not really coin related, at BMO Financial Group.
Hmm.
So she is now going to be charged with directing all aspects of the Royal Canadian Mint. And in her I don't know what I want to say, in her installation as the new chief,
Hmm.
she has not announced any change in direction for the RCM. My assumption is that she'll continue with the current direction because things are going pretty well there.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah. I mean,
the Royal Canadian Mint is world renowned for its wide variety of coinage programs and well saluted by the Coin Show for
yes.
producing a variety of interesting coins that tend to sell out. And it's like I salute their wide variety. I think you salute their tendency to sell out, which is
Yeah.
kind of nice.
Yeah, I agree.
Yes.
Well, I'm glad. Congratulations.
Well, when I saw this story, it made me think of Henrietta Holzman IV, who was the director of the U.S. Mint for quite a while,
Hmm.
and how popular she was and how she did a lot of positive things for the Mint. I don't know that being a woman has anything to do with that, but I always kind of like to see a woman in charge.
I agree. It
Yes.
should be interesting.
Speaking of popular Canadian Mint programs, the Royal Canadian Mint's 2015 Baby Animals Silver Subscription
Woo.
Program is proving to be a hot ticket. Now, a series featuring 4 different baby animals went on sale in early March and is already over 80% sold.
So I'm saying, I think that the Royal Canadian Mint tends to cater to younger collectors. Just my personal opinion.
I think that they
Because
I think that maybe they don't go towards classic numismatics as much as broad appeal.
well, I mean, you think about what kids like. Kids like baby animals. Kids like dinosaurs. And they've done both of those pretty. They've done
Sure, but they've
series of both of those.
Sure, but
So.
they've also done like enameled coins and different
Hmm.
design coins. They've done gemstones. I mean, I think yes, it sometimes seems that that I think that what it really speaks to is that they're trying to draw in as broad an audience as possible. And in my opinion, that kind of bodes well for the hobby in general because where is the future of the hobby? It's in kids and bringing young collectors into the hobby.
Yeah, I mean that's something that our mint doesn't seem to put a lot of emphasis on. So it's nice to even see that that's a possibility.
Yes, and I think that you as a coin dealer should appreciate the fact that anytime they try and grow the hobby, that's good for the hobby in general and good for business.
Hmm.
The coins are limited to a mintage of 7,500 per design. They offer a full ounce of fine silver, face value $20, and sell for $100 Canadian per coin.
Hmm.
Now, the first coin depicts a young black bear cub and its mother, but future designs have not yet been disclosed. This is a subscription program.
Yeah, I'm just sitting here looking at a picture of this black bear. It looks pretty cool.
Yeah, well,
I know my kids would like it.
when I read subscription program and it's
Hmm.
80% sold out, think about it. It's like you're locking yourself in for 4 coins,
Yeah, no
3 of
matter
which you
what.
haven't seen the design yet.
Yeah, that's true. Hopefully
But
they don't come out with like a baby tick or something.
a baby zebra,
baby deer tick,
a baby deer tick, a baby mosquito.
right? Yeah, the little squirmy things.
Yes, pests of North America.
What I hear, there's lots of mosquitoes in Canada though, so you never know.
The Ronald Reagan presidential dollar will be a reality in 2016.
I saw this too.
The United States Mint has confirmed its plans to include the 40th president in the program. Now, originally it was expected that the series would end at Gerald Ford because Carter was still living, but the interpretation of the law has been reconsidered, and it is felt that Reagan should as well be included. Now, this means a first spouse coin for Nancy Reagan, for mommy.
Yep.
and she will be the first living person depicted on a United States coin since Eunice Kennedy Shriver on the 1995 Special Olympics silver dollar.
If she makes it that far. Oh, did I say that out loud?
Wow, that
I'm
was
sorry.
mean. That was
I'm sorry. Hey, you can't put all your eggs in one basket saying stuff like that. I mean, I'm just. I hope
hey,
she
Patrick.
does. I hope she lives another 25 years, but you know, it's one of those things. It's life.
Designs for the Reagan coins will be reviewed by the Citizens Coinage Advisory Committee, and if you'd like to see the candidates, they're available on coinnews.net. Now, many of our Facebook friends may have noticed the story we posted earlier this week that the PNG, the Professional Numismatists Guild, has announced its 2015 Young Numismatist Scholarship Competition. Say that 3 times fast. CoinWeek is reporting that the Professional Numismatists Guild will provide a scholarship to 2015 Summer Seminar in Colorado Springs. This is the 11th year of the scholarship. It will include airfare, tuition for one of the week-long sessions, meals, and fabulous dormitory accommodations for 5 fabulous days and nights.
In scenic
Colorado
Colorado
Springs. Well,
Springs.
actually, Colorado Springs is beautiful. It's where Pikes
I know it
Peak
is. I know.
Yes. Entries must include the applicant's name and contact information. The essays can be sent by email to info@pngdealers.org or by snail mail to the PNG Executive Director, 28441 Rancho California Road, Suite 106, Temecula, California, 92590.
Tell him what he's won, Johnny.
He's won a fabulous all.
I love it.
Yeah. And finally, in the news, the 2016 Red Book will be available later this month on March 26th. Now, the latest edition of the Coin Collecting Classic will make its debut at the Whitman Baltimore Coin and Collectibles Expo, after which it can be found in book retailers, hobby shops, and, of course, at whitman.com.
Yep, that's right.
Now, the editions that they produce of this book include a hardbound, a wirebound, a large print edition, and paperback, just as last year. But new this year is a special deluxe edition, which includes certified population data, more die varieties, more auction records, and more pricing than the standard issue Red Book.
Yeah, it kind of sounds like what they called the professional edition a couple years ago.
Well, the professional edition is wirebound and
I
probably
mean, I
about,
meant as far as content goes, but yeah.
well, yes, but actually, I've heard some of the buzz about this book, and if you look at some of the graphics that they show, it is going to be substantially thicker.
Cool.
The deluxe edition, which people at Whitman Publishing have nicknamed Mega Red,
Really?
that's what they nicknamed it, Mega Red,
Oh man.
will be hardbound and priced at $49.95. The 2016 book marks the 69th edition of the Red Book.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, to be honest with you, I cannot wait to see a copy of Mega Red.
Mega Red.
Mega
Maybe
Red.
Whitman would be kind enough to send us one.
You know, I have a feeling that at least one of us will be receiving a copy. You know,
And for some reason, I don't think it'll be me.
well, you know what?
Wah, wah,
You
wah,
you
wah.
get some very nice gifts from Whitman on
I
occasion.
do. I do.
Yes.
I do.
But
I
the
don't complain.
no, we should never complain because they're very generous and they're very good to our show.
Yes, they
You know,
are.
our friend of the show, Dennis Tucker, is the publisher at Whitman, and you know he's always sending me the press releases on the new books that they've got. And
It's because he wants you to talk about them.
no, really?
No, I'm just putting that out there, you know.
Oh, okay.
Just-
The hardcover has 448 pages of reference material.
Wow.
Did you know that it covers over 7,600 coins?
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, I may have to stock some in the store along with the regular 2016 Red Books.
I think so. And actually, what I have always liked is, you know, you were talking about Central States earlier in our pre-show meeting.
Pre-show meeting, yeah.
They Central States actually puts out their own edition of the Red Book.
Yeah, they get their own special cover, I think.
They do.
From Whitman.
Yeah. Well worth collecting.
Yes.
Speaking of collecting, one of these days we have to get Frank Coletti on
Oh, yeah.
and talk
of
about
course.
collecting Red Books.
Yeah.
I wonder if any of our listeners have a collection of Red Books.
That'd be very interesting.
That would be interesting to find out. Are you a member of the American Numismatic Association? The world's largest organization dedicated to numismatic education offers something for everyone, including an award-winning monthly magazine, The Numismatist, discounts on other numismatic publications, direct submissions to NGC, access to the biggest numismatic library in the world, and much, much more. Sign up today at money.org/join. Matt, one of the fan favorites of our show is when you
Hmm.
talk about the coolest thing that walked into your shop.
That is true.
And I kind of got a kick out of when I saw this week what you wanted to talk about,
Well,
which is the antithesis of the cool
exactly.
things.
I figured Sam's our research assistant, and he also works for me now, by the way. Um, Sam and I got to talking the other day, and he said, what are you thinking about covering for the show? And I was like, I don't really know. And he looked kind of thought for a second, and he goes, how about we talk about the uncoolest things to walk into the shop? And from there we kind of started talking, and the light bulb went on. So, because
And he was
every
like, cool, I
episode
don't have to write this.
because every episode there's always something that comes out as the coolest thing.
Yes.
But we kind of wanted to talk about the uncoolest thing because there's just this stuff that comes into the store every day
That's less
that
than appealing?
is, yeah, that's a very good way to put it. Less than appealing. Sam said it gives him headaches. So, and honestly, we're not trying to throw anybody under the bus. If you collect this, that is, perfectly acceptable. Collect what you like, but rather, we kind of wanted to highlight the stuff that walks into our store all the time, just so people can kind of get an idea that it's not all gold and $20 gold pieces and colonial coins and stuff that walks in, but more to give you a glimpse of what our everyday life is. So one of the first things that Sam and I kind of agreed on was TV stuff. And this really includes anything that comes in a special presentation box or holder or packaging. And this is stuff that was sold on TV, mailers, internet, the home shopping networks.
Would this include the special gold-plated state quarters
Oh, yes. Oh, yes, it does.
and the
Um,
fabulous platinum-plated?
yes. And the reason that we kind of deemed this the first uncool thing is because really these companies that sell this stuff, they make a huge profit on selling very, very common average coins at huge premiums. So a lot of times, it, it's basically the collectors that buy this stuff are just getting scammed. Um, and so it's not that it's not interesting stuff, but it's just much. And these people are paying a huge premium for this stuff. And then when we tell them that it's really not worth much, then we're the bad guy. So
Now,
that's kind of why it's uncool to us.
now, I'd like to kind of throw out there the fact that we're definitely not beating on people to collect. We've always said collect something that you're interested in, collect what you like. If it's something that spurs your interest, if it's something that turns you on, that makes you happy as a collector, by all means, collect it.
Yeah. Oh no.
These are these are just kind of the things that aren't necessarily very desirable from the coin shop's point of
Yeah,
view.
I'm not trying to poo-poo on anybody collecting anything. I have friends that collect all sorts of stuff. We have a guy that has the number one Eisenhower dollar set in the world, is one of our customers. And if you know me, you would think, holy cow, Matt hates modern stuff. Well, you know what? I can't fault the guy because he's putting together what he likes. So I I always say that to people: collect what you like. But this is just the stuff that either for a reason like we just talked about, that's kind of, it causes annoyances with our customers when we tell them the truth about it. That is kind of uncool to us. And sometimes, for example, the next one that we had kind of come up with was Susan B. Anthony and Eisenhower dollars, just regular, out of the pocket kind of stuff. Human nature is to save things that are different, even if you're not a collector. So if somebody gets one of these in their change, they always just stick it in a drawer, stick it in a box somewhere, and then eventually they'll think about, what's this thing worth? So a lot of times we get people that come in with them, and they ask us what they're worth, and we say, well, honestly, just spend them.
Take a look at the
Yeah,
reverse,
yeah.
and at the bottom, it tells you exactly what it's
Yep,
worth.
yep. And a lot of times they can't believe that, I'm just like they're not worth anything. So a lot of times we kind of have a bucket of Eisenhowers that have a couple 300 in it. So I'm just like, look, this right here, I'd be happy to sell you at $1 a piece. So it's one of those things that when we buy them, the reason that we don't like to buy them is because they carry really no premium over face, and when we do buy them, we just have to take them to the bank. Another one was modern foreign coins. Once again, if you're a collector of that, shops tend to have kind of like a bucket of that stuff. I know we do. Um, but a lot of times people come home with a pocket full of change from a vacation overseas, and they don't know what to do with it. The bank won't take it. The exchange a lot of times doesn't do coin. So they just kind of end up with it. So we see a lot of stuff like that. And countries that we commonly see: Great Britain, France, Germany, China, a lot of the Caribbean countries, and Mexico, as well as Canada. We see a lot of Canadian stuff.
A lot of vacation destinations.
Exactly. And so, a lot of the times these coins are not obviously not spendable here. And if it's a vacation that you went on some time ago, they may not even be spendable where they were issued. So there's really no monetary value to them. And then the collector side of it, there's coins that we see all the time. So a lot of the foreign stuff like that, we actually sell by the pound. It's not a by piece thing. It's a we're selling it at $8, $9, $10 a pound.
And one thing that I'll kind of throw out there is when you have a lot of this stuff, or if you have a handful of it,
Mm-hmm.
you know, this is some of the best stuff to hand off to young collectors.
I was just going to mention that. Funny you say that. We actually do when kids come in. Kids are fascinated by coins from other places for some reason. So a lot of times we'll let them go through and pick out 10 or 20 of them that they like and just let them have them because they're just not worth much. Another one that we come up with a lot, and by a lot I mean it's not a normal day at the coin store if we don't buy at least one of these. Is what we call no-date Buffalo nickels. Buffalo nickels during their time circulated very heavily, and the date being one of the highest points of the obverse tended to get worn off. So a lot of times you find a Buffalo nickel and you think, oh, cool, I got something here, but you can't tell what date it is because the date's worn off. So unfortunately, in that particular case, for example, in my shop, we sell them for 8 cents a piece. I sell them for 8 cents. So I mean, I can't pay much more than a nickel for them. I think
And you can spend them as a nickel.
yeah,
So,
yeah. I think we pay 6 cents a piece for them when we buy them. But it's something that we see every day. Um, and unfortunately, at that particular point, their collectability is just not there anymore. Because you can't tell what date the coin is. Now, some people buy them and they use Nicodate to bring the dates back, which, I mean, that's fun, but you're still going to end up with an ugly coin.
well, and it at that point is damaged, and anybody who knows nickels,
Yeah,
will no longer really desire the coin.
yeah.
It's kind of a cool game to play. What date is this, and guess, and maybe even put together a collection.
Hmm.
Try and do a complete set.
I mean, it's a way to it's a cheap way to collect, but it is something that we see all the time. Another piece that we see all the time: average common circulated silver certificates. It's once again, it's not an average day at the coin shop if we don't buy one or two or three of these at least. Some days we buy 100 of them, but they were really cool. People held on to them because when they were doing the exchange in the 60s, they thought, oh, all these notes are going to get turned in, so I'm going to hang on to these and they're going to be worth something. Well, unfortunately, a lot of people had the same idea. So we see them all the time. In our store, we sell circulated ones for $1.30 a piece. And we pay $1.15 for them when they come in.
And they're a cool novelty, but unless they are crisp,
Mhm.
uncirculated, they really just don't have any premium to them at all.
Yep. Yep. Another one that we see every day: common date circulated wheat pennies. We had a couple about 3 weeks ago. We bought 100,000 of them in one shot. So, and it's something once again everybody has in their collection. We see them a lot. And when we sell them at 3.5 cents a piece. It's something that is just not worth a ton. Collect them if you like them, but when we see, like I said, in 1 week we bought 100,000 from one collector. So,
Let me be devil's advocate here for a
hmm
second, because what I would recommend is to save all your wheat pennies. And the reason why I say that is because there's more than a cent and a half's worth of copper in them.
oh,
And at some point, you will be able to melt them down for the
I'm
copper.
not sure how long it's going to be though. Is the
It may
question.
not be in your lifetime, may not be in my lifetime. Maybe somebody travels to a foreign country.
Let's not go
Don't
there.
know.
But I mean, you still get like when we buy them, we pay 3 cents a piece. So you're getting about what they're worth in bronze from the coin shop. But we only get 3.5 cents a piece for them. So it's just something that there's tons of them out there. They come in quantity. I have a one of my customers a couple of years ago came in the shop and asked me what I would pay for them, and I told him, and he said, "Well, I've got quite a few. Does that make a difference?" And I said, "How many you have?" And he said, "Oh, about 2 million." He had 2 million wheat pennies.
Wow.
So
That's $20,000 worth of.
yes, worth of wheat
Now,
pennies. So
now, something that I want to kind of point out while you're talking about common date wheat pennies is that anything after 1920 is a common date
pretty much, unless it's in high
because
grade.
of, yes, well, even,
31S, I mean, that's a better date, but really
yes,
just
well,
you know,
into the 50s, even in high end, because of the roll collecting
oh yeah.
of the 1950s. I mean, there were just dozens and dozens and dozens of rolls put away of these, and you can pull them out in really, really high end, great, and they're still just completely undesirable and common as dirt.
Yep, that's exactly right. One of the things that we hate to see, because a lot of times this comes with either us breaking bad news to somebody or, as Sam calls it, crushing their hopes and dreams, is coins encapsulated by the self-slabbers, the non-reputable slabbing companies. Um, it's just one of those things that some people that are not educated in collecting tend to come across on eBay or somewhere or at auctions is our coins in these no-name slabs that have a really lofty grade on them when they're not really that grade. So a lot of times we have to break the bad news to them. I was at a coin show this past weekend, and a gentleman walked up to me with a coin that was slabbed as an MS-67 by I don't remember who it was, but I kind of politely said, well, unfortunately, this coin's if you send it to the grading companies, it's an MS-64. And he didn't really like that all that much because I'm sure he paid a pretty hefty premium for it.
You mean my MS-68 wheat penny from Professional Certification Services isn't like a huge premium?
Well, you'd be surprised how many people don't know that. And it's unfortunate, but we do have to tell them relatively often. Another thing that we buy a whole heck of a lot of is backdate proof and mint sets. And I know I'm gonna be gentle here, Mike, so I don't hurt your feelings.
Yes,
But
because you know how much I love backdate proof of mid sets.
good Lord, my friend, have you ever, um, like the standard totes that you can go to Target or anywhere and buy? I think they're like 5 gallon totes. Um,
Yeah, they're made by Rubbermaid.
yeah, in an
Yes.
average month at our coin shop, we fill up between 10 and 15 of those with nothing but proof and mint sets. So there's just tons of them out there. A lot of the stuff from about 1970 up through about 1995 is just two, $3, $4 each set. So there's a lot of that stuff that's just not worth a thing. And
And there's over $2 worth of face
a
in it.
lot of times, yeah. I mean, some of those sets are worth, they're worth 50 cents over the face value, and that's retail. So it's unfortunate, but we do see a lot of that kind of stuff too. So,
Now, with that said, I will say that one man's junk is another man's
I
treasure,
agree completely.
and there are things to be found in them that are worthwhile.
Hmm.
And uh, probably not in my lifetime, but at some point, the attrition rates of those may be big enough to where some of them carry a premium. But except for coins like, you mentioned 1970, for a long time, the half dollar was like, well, this Kennedy half is 40% silver, and the only place you can get it is in the Smith set. Yeah, it really, I mean, it's not that big a
How
deal.
many you want?
Right. But there are some small date 70s
Yeah.
pennies in those mid
Hmm.
sets, and those mid sets sell for a premium.
I mean, there are
So,
some
I
things
mean,
in there.
there's something, but they're very few and far between, and they really are not worth paying big premiums
Yeah.
on.
So, like I said, guys, collect what you like. I'm not trying to hate on anybody's collecting. I'm just kind of trying to give you an idea of the kind of stuff that comes in our store every single day.
To
To
contrast
contrast some of the really awesome stuff that comes in, which we'll talk about later. I have a pretty good one
yes.
this week. So,
Yes, but also understand, it's like we always say, collect something that you like, collect something because it makes you happy and because you're interested in it. And at the end of the day, if all United States coinage becomes absolutely valueless, you still have something that interests you and that you
yeah,
like.
I mean, even if you want to collect clad quarters, I'm not one to tell you not to. I'm just one to tell you that, you're probably not going to get rich doing it. That's what we get a lot of people that come in with that mindset that, oh, these old coins got to be worth something because they're old. Well, it's not always the case.
I've got these Jefferson nickels from the 40s and
All
30s.
right, yeah. My 1964 Jefferson, it's silver, right? I hear that from time to time. So, I mean, it's just about people that being uninformed or ill-informed. And we have to tell we tell them the truth, and sometimes the truth hurts, and sometimes we end up being, in their mind, the bad guy for telling them that their coins aren't worth anything. So,
Well, you're a bad guy, but that's for different reasons.
yeah.
Matt, on occasion, every once in a while, somebody writes to us and we get some interesting mail. I actually got some really interesting mail from a couple of people this week. Uh, one from a serviceman
Hmm.
in, I want to say it was in Okinawa.
Oh, sure.
Yeah. That told us how much he enjoyed our show. And you know what? We really, really appreciate when you guys, send us notes to tell us what you like
What you
and
don't like,
and what you don't like, and we welcome the
we got
feedback.
thick skin. Bring it.
But this week we had a listener question
Okay.
that I wanted to cover with you because he sent it to you as well, Matt. Mike and Matt, I love the podcast. Thanks. In last week's episode, you spoke briefly about the 1909 VDB proof coin, of which I am a fortunate owner. Last year, I read a story in Coin World about an individual who apparently was trying to corner the market on the coins, purchasing nearly every available coin for the last decade or more. All told, he gathered more than 50 examples.
Hmm.
Now, weeks later, there was an ad in Coin World offering to sell the coins, all of them, as a single lot. I'd love to hear more about this coin and this collector. More to the point, what about the whole idea of an individual attempting to corner the market on any particular coin? Can we trust the values given to those coins since we now know that one person is the market maker? What do you think would happen if all 50 examples now flooded the market? And does this give coin collecting a bad name in the investor community when prices are so easily
Okay.
manipulated? Even though we've come so far to standardize grading pricing and professionalize our hobby.
Sure.
Thoughts? Thanks, Mark.
Mark, great question. I can kind of take some of this because I have some experience with this. Uh, unlike the stock market, unlike a lot of other markets, the coin market is unregulated by federal regulators. So there is lots of manipulation, such as somebody trying to buy up all the available examples. And this can be a play on their part to just try to make some money. What they'll do is they'll buy up everyone they can get, and then once the market starts to realize that these coins are really, really hard to get, the prices will go up. And then slowly, the plan would be to slowly sell, you know, a portion of the collection, 10 coins, 15 coins, at these inflated prices when you bought them a lot cheaper, and then just dump the rest of them. And then the market does what it does. So it would correct a lot of the times. In the case of the '09 VDBs, I think that if those coins were to all come onto the market at once, you would probably see a 20 to 30% price decline um, in the value of the coin and what they're trading for. So, it, while it might seem kind of underhanded, it is just a strategy that some people do use. Um, and these people have a lot more money than you and me and Mike all added together. So, it's just one of those things that because of the non-regulation in the market, it is open to manipulation like that.
Now, I want to kind of throw my 2 cents into this because, from an economics standpoint and from a standpoint of markets and market availability, granted, there are, this gentleman gathered more than 50 examples of an '09, VDB mat proof.
And let me
But there are,
sorry, let me comment real quick. I think that his advertisement was in response to the story. I think he was kind of maybe thumbing his nose at the coin publication that published that somebody's buying up all these coins, because a lot of the times these guys don't like people to know that that's going on. So sorry to interrupt. I want to put.
well, very likely. No, well, no, I mean, it's a valid point. But the mintage on the '09 VDB mat proof is in the hundreds. And actually, I think it's over 1,000, isn't it?
It's close. I think it's.
Here, hold on a second. Let's look it up real quick.
I want to say 900, but I could be wrong.
Almost 1,200 '09 VDB map
Okay.
proofs. Okay. And so 50, although it sounds like a relatively big number, is really not. I mean, it's a large number, but it's not a large number in terms of the number of known
Well,
examples.
think about it like this though. If 50 out of 1,200 is a little bit under what, 5%.
Yes,
So,
it's a little bit under 5%.
what if I went out and bought 5% of the Apple stocks? It's one of those that can be a significant number, and you would be able to, I think, affect the market at least. But
It can, and it may very well.
especially if there's only a limited number of them available, there may be so many out there. But if there's only a limited number that you could buy,
Correct, but my bigger point was that, okay, you talk about the gentleman was going to sell them in a single lot. First off, it's a really dumb move if you're trying to corner the market,
yeah,
because what you're now doing is you're creating a flood of them on the market, and those 50 examples all entering the market at one time is going to completely depress the price of the
yeah,
coin.
that was kind of.
So any gains that you've made in gathering them have now been completely flushed down the toilet by your attempt to now offer, this many of them on the market. And so from a market standpoint, if somebody was trying to corner the market, as Matt had pointed out, you bring them in, you bring them in, you bring them in, but then you have to slowly kind of release them out. And as you go about the business of getting your money back, of recouping this investment that you have in them, the returns are going to diminish themselves to the point where I think you're really going to just about break even,
Yeah,
because the demand for these coins is not huge. It's very rabid. They have a good following. They're a great coin, but by the same token, that there is a market for them, and it's relatively well satisfied.
mm-hmm.
And so anybody who gains a lot of examples of these proves that there are examples out there that can be had, and they can be had for a relatively reasonable price. And I don't think that you could live long enough to be able to then disperse them and get big gains out of it. That's just kind of my opinion from an economics standpoint.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely would take some time, but especially if you're out buying every available example, though, I mean, if you're the only one buying them, nobody else can get their hands on them. So when you do start to trickle them out, there would be a market for them. That's the point. You're kind of making that market, the market maker.
I,
So
I think that a really good example of this is in 1980 when the Hunt brothers tried
yes,
to corner the market on
great
silver.
example.
And they ran the price of silver almost, all the way up to $50 an ounce. But shortly after that, it almost crashed. And it pretty much crashed because at this point, they had to disperse it. They had to get their money back out of it. And it is in the dispersal of it where they really kind of, really it didn't pan out. Now, one of the questions that he asked is, does this give coin collecting a bad name in the investor
Yes,
community? Uh, Yes, but to be honest with you, we've long advocated that coin collecting is really not an investment. There are a ton of different investments out there that will outperform coins all day long and twice on Sunday. Buying coins and holding them, making your profit on them is really nice and it can be done, but I don't think predictably and I don't think consistently.
it's elusive and hard to do. I've met with some investment people that would like me to do some consulting for them as far as buying coins as investments. And the first thing I said was, coins are a terrible investment, but they wanted to keep going, so I do have some experience with that side of it. Um, so that's still kind of up in the air, but it's there are definitely ways to do it, but
Quietly is generally the way that would be best
exactly like
advised,
like
though.
I said, you want to do this quiet, and that might be why that guy put the ad in that publication because he kind of wanted it to be kept quiet, and all of a sudden the publications are running stories about it. It's not quiet anymore. So
Sure, and you would be, I think sometimes people also do these things for notoriety's
yeah,
sake.
that's true.
And there it is. It's the hey, hello, look at me kind of mentality,
Peacocking.
but it's that exact peacocking mentality that is going to be the undoing of
That's
it.
true. Cool
So
question.
Mark, we really appreciate the question. It was very interesting, and we're glad that you love the podcast. And if you have other questions for us, send them to us, Mike at coinshowradio.com or Matt at coinshowradio.com, or you can do like Mark did and send it to both of us,
Mhm.
and hopefully we'll read your question on the air.
Well, waking up, I'm so damn cold.
Matt, in 1916,
Mhm.
the United States Mint was seeking to change designs on the dime, quarter dollar, and half dollar denominations. The law that was in place allowed the Secretary of the Treasury to authorize new designs of coinage after a run of 25 years. And many believe that the Treasury Secretary of that particular time, William McAdoo, understood it to be his duty to make these changes. And so he sought new designs to replace the current coins in 1916. The dimes, quarters, and halves of the day were designed by Chief Mint engraver Charles Barber, and were generally unpopular with the public as they kind of lacked much in the way of aesthetic appeal. Design competitions were held, and on March 3rd, 1916, the three new coins were publicly announced, and it was hoped that within a couple of months the new designs would be finalized and released. Walter Breen wrote that Barber was sullen and totally uncooperative, and that he created numerous barriers and delays that kept the new coins out of
You
production.
don't say.
Yeah, he wasn't really crazy about his designs being replaced. Now, so long were the delays that the United States Mint produced over 24 million Barber dimes in 1916.
Wow.
Yeah. But finally, on October 30th, 1916, the new winged Liberty Head dimes were released to the general public, and it wasn't until that very day that production of Barber dimes finally grudgingly ended.
Huh.
So it's up until the date that they were released, Barber was like, no, we're going to continue to mint these. Now, during the last 2 months of 1916, nearly 33 million Mercury dimes were released. And the overwhelming majority of these coins were produced in Philadelphia and San Francisco. But for some reason, and one that has made coin collectors very happy, a small number of these coins were produced at Denver. In fact, given the numbers of the other dimes produced, it almost defies logic that the Denver coins were minted. Nearly 57 million dimes were coined in 1916, and a mere 246,000 of them were made at Denver.
Yeah.
57
Wow.
million, 200, a quarter of a million, under a quarter of a million. So for us collectors, this is a great thing because a 1916D Mercury dime is a very sought after coin and a very valuable coin. Examples in any grade are quite valuable and sell in the hundreds of
Even in
dollars.
ugly.
Yes, it is indeed one of the great rarities, if not one of the only rarities, of the 20th century.
Yeah.
Now, many factors that would generally be bad news for long term collectability have somehow been overcome. For example, heavy circulation can be an issue for coins in identifying them once they've reached, a certain state of degradation. And these coins definitely circulated. In fact, much of the known population of the 16D exists below the grade of fine, and a large number exist in grades below good. The problem once you degrade below good is that the rims of the coin are worn away and the lettering is impinged upon. So many early Mercury dimes are worn well into the lettering on the
And
reverse.
sometimes it can be hard to tell what the mint mark is.
Exactly. Now, had the mint mark not been placed very high on all four reverse dies used at Denver in 1916, it might be difficult, if not impossible, to determine the mint of origin for these surviving coins. Mint mark shape from Denver in 1916 is also very distinctive,
Mm-hmm.
and it is the shape of that D that allows authentication on even heavily worn specimens.
A lot of people don't know this, and this is kind of a fun fact I learned a long time ago. But the D punch that they used on the 16D is the exact same punch they used on the 14D cent.
Yes, and the exact same punch that they used on the 1921D.
Yes, yes. So if you need to study an example, actually it's easier to find a 14D cent to look at that D as to what the shape should be. Um, because a lot of the 16Ds you see are in really ugly shape, and it's the mint mark's usually flattened anyways. So, if you're in the
Yes,
market for one and you're trying to figure out what shape it should be, go look at a 14D or a 21D, and you'll kind of get an idea. So, pro tip.
I tend to describe the D on a 16D as the mint mark is kind of squared and boxy. The serifs on the D are flat, they're not
Mm-hmm.
pointy, but the inner part of the D tends to, even after heavy wear, take on the shape of a house.
It's like a triangle. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of triangular, kind of house
And
shaped.
I believe one of the 16D die pairs actually has a repunch mint mark. So that's one thing you can look for as
As a
well.
matter of fact, you're correct on that.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's.
The 16D is such a rarity and so much in demand that it is very commonly counterfeited
Mhm.
and might be one of the most faked coins of the 20th century.
I would probably agree with that.
Randy Campbell, who's a former annex grader, once told me that he estimates that there are more counterfeit 16Ds than real ones.
That would not surprise me at all, actually.
And for this reason, it is almost mandatory that you buy only certified
Yeah,
examples.
another fun fact about this particular coin is me being a coin dealer in Indianapolis, we see these pretty often, but there was actually a counterfeiter in southern Indiana that was making nothing but counterfeit 16D dimes. So it's not unusual for us to come across them. So we really have to be extra careful because the most prolific counterfeiter, and I'm not sure if they ever caught him, but the most prolific counterfeiter seemed to be coming out of that southern Indiana area,
Right, right in your
right in my
backyard.
backyard. So it's not.
Yeah.
We have to be really, really careful, and I make sure my employees get a second set of eyes on any 16Ds that walk in raw, just for that reason.
Yeah. Now, while raw examples trade hands very often, they are never sold at full market value, and most often they're not genuine.
Yeah, you gotta be real careful.
Yeah. Um, I will. I would be willing to say that over 80% of the raw ones that I've seen over the course of my collecting, and that goes over a couple of decades, have all been counterfeit.
Yeah. Well,
I mean, that's how much, you know. So the minuscule mintage makes this coin one of the rarest coins minted for commerce in the entire 20th century. Its beauty as an artistic piece makes it popular and loved by collectors spanning several generations. I like to refer to this as the renaissance of American coinage that took place in the early 1900s. The 16D Mercury diamond has not only held its value, but has steadily gained over the years, making it a classic of American coin collecting. Now, typically, many first year issues are well saved, and values over time are often suppressed by the supply of examples in better condition. But the 16D saw really heavy use in commerce, as can be witnessed by the surviving examples. If you look at the general populations, it's like almost all of them are really, really heavily circulated. So while many first year Mercury dimes were saved and survive in high end condition, the Denver coins were used and served the public as coin before being culled from circulation by many numismatists of the 1950s and 60s. No hoards of this coin have ever really surfaced, and it is generally accepted that most that have survived have been accounted for by this point. And many consider the Mercury dime to be one of the most beautiful designs that the United States Mint has ever produced. When you combine that extreme popularity with the rarity of the Denver issue, you have a classic example of American coinage and one treasured by many collectors of all ages.
that was nice. I like that.
Okay, Matt. Earlier tonight, we heard about the things that annoy the living bejesus out of you when they walk into your shop. But I think it is the punishment that you receive in order to karmically even out some of the really, really cool stuff
Yep.
that walks into your
Yep.
shop. And I was talking to a local dealer here in Chicago about some of the stuff that just walks into your shop and how amazing to me it is that just middle America. I mean, Indianapolis is not a burgeoning city. It's not
Well,
it's not like the biggest city in even your region of the
oh no.
country, but yet this stuff just kind of seems to surface there
It
and bubble
it's
up.
peculiar. From what I hear from all my my dealers that kind of drive all around the country, they say the Midwest is a great place to buy coins. So who knows? Maybe it's just
Well, that's because
something.
the people are just
I was gonna
awesome.
say it's probably something to do with the mentality of the people. But
It's in the
yep.
water.
Speaking of Indianapolis, the coolest thing this week is not something I bought in the shop, but something that walked up to me at our little local monthly show. So, kind of putting that out there. Um, we set up at a little show every month here just on the north side of Indianapolis, and we usually see about the same people every time. So it's kind of more of a social event than it is a coin show for some people. But I still like to try to do business there. But one of the customers that I've dealt with a few times has brought me some really cool stuff. Walked up to me at the show and handed me a couple of trade dollars, which I priced for him, and we came to an agreement on. And then he was about to walk away, and he goes, "Oh wait, I got one more coin I want to show you." And he pulls out a Go Break dollar out of his shirt pocket. And unfortunately, the coin has been holed and plugged and cleaned, but it's not every day you get to buy a Go Break dollar. And this is the
Oh, by the way, I have this 160-year-old dollar in my
yeah,
pocket.
and this was the orientation two, so it's the one with the eagle kind of flying upwards. That's the most popular one of the bunch. Um, and it's kind of what I call the budget grade because most collectors out there are not going to be able to buy a Go Break dollar. I mean, it's price prohibitive. The coin, even in like a proof 60, is $35,000. So
Wow.
yeah, I mean, this is like a $25,000 coin with a hole in it. So it's it's a
So
shame.
even with a hole in
Mhm.
it, it's still worth 5 figures.
Not five figures. No, I mean it's that was my it is a $25,000 coin
$1,000 coin, but
with a
for the
hole in it.
holding.
Yeah.
I got it.
So um,
That's a whole lot of money they left behind.
well, and the crazy thing is this particular coin though. I mean, I as somebody as he handed me this coin, I was kind of thinking, how the heck am I going to give him a price on this thing? Because I'm not sure I can find a comparable coin that's sold. And when we get really rare coins like that, that's one of the things I actually rely on the most is looking at comparable stuff that's gone through the auctions because, that's a real number. Somebody actually paid that. I can trust that that number is close to what it's going to be worth. So I was doing some looking. I found a very similar coin that was in an NGC slab, and it brought around $5,000. So knowing that, I made an offer and I was able to buy it,
Even with the hole in
even
it.
with the hole in it. It's a shame,
That's amazing.
but I did not expect that day somebody was going to hand me a gold break dollar. So pretty cool
Now,
day.
authenticating the coin is relatively simple, straightforward.
Yeah, I mean, it has to do with just knowing a lot about the earlier proofs because all of these coins were struck in proofs. So the coin's going to have those squared edges, it's going to have sharp denticles, sharp details, and then it should match one of the known alignments for the particular pairing of the dies because there's the original strikes, which is what this one is, and then they did some later strikes kind of as a pattern almost. So you have to kind of know the particular series to be able to authenticate them. But yeah, I mean it's not a horribly hard coin to authenticate.
And what is the disposition of this coin?
As far as me owning it,
Yeah, well, what are you going to do with it?
I don't know. It's just I think this coin will go fairly quickly because there are so many collectors out there that just don't have the budget to buy the big coin, but would still like to have one. So this is kind of like the 8-year-old Mercedes Benz. It's attractive to people that want to have a Mercedes Benz, but you're not going to pay nearly as much as if you were out to buy a new one. So
Now, I find this fascinating that silver
mhm.
dollars have never really enjoyed any popularity as circulating coins. I mean, they don't circulate. They've never circulated. We've tried to make them since 1793, and they've come and they've gone. It's like we make them for a few years and then we stop,
Yep,
and then something. But yet, as collectibles in retrospect, they end up being phenomenally collectible and really desirable.
that's true. That's very true, and people just love them. So
That's a big old hunk of silver
yeah,
too.
it's a big dude.
Well, with this having a hole in it, it's something that is going to remain raw, I
No,
assume.
I'm actually thinking about getting it slabbed just to be authenticated because obviously, I'm was 100% confident it was real or I wouldn't have bought it. But
But it is all about the person that's buying
yeah,
it
the,
from
the
you
person that's
and
buying
their
may not
confidence.
have the same knowledge base that I do. So
Sure. So, where does one send a hold coin? Because it's only going to come back as
yeah,
details, and it's going to come back as damaged.
that's
And
okay. That's what I need to do with that coin. I think is just to send it to NGC and they'll tell me what I need to know, which I already know. But they'll just it'll make the coin more saleable.
we would like to thank our contributors to Facebook friends, Twitter followers, people who follow our blogs, people who wrote to ask questions like Mark,
Mark, thank you.
or people, thank you, Mark, or people who have in some other way inspired us. Our thanks to the great folks at the American Numismatic Association for their support. Visit them at money.org. Our thanks also to Tony Alvarez and the Tony Alvarez Band for our theme music. Visit them at tonyalvarezband.com. We'd also like to thank the Coffin Cats for their musical contributions. Visit them at coffincatsrock.com. Hopefully, sometime soon, we'll get that new theme music from them. I'm
Yeah.
really looking forward to it. Also, a big thanks to our intern and research assistant, Sam the Man Schaefer.
I'm gonna call him that tomorrow.
And while those people are important contributors to this show, their importance absolutely pales in comparison to you, the listeners, without whom this entire endeavor would be completely pointless. We love our audience, and we love our audience contributions even more. Send us your thoughts. Email us at Mike or Matt at coinshowradio.com, or you can also ask us questions at coinshowradio.com. Visit our brand new webpage. Well, not so brand new anymore, but visit our webpage, conveniently located at coinshowradio.com. There you will find all kinds of new things to explore and enjoy. Report what you think back to us. We always welcome your feedback on the new site and what you'd like to see us do there, as well as any other feedback about the show. Now, we're currently soliciting contributions for our 100th episode.
We've gotten a few.
We've gotten a couple. If you'd like to wish us luck, congratulate us, or offer a message of some other kind, please email me, Mike at coinshowradio.com. You can even, just send me a note that we can read or something like that. We only have a few weeks before we record, so please send us your stuff today. Check out Matt's new gallery of the cool stuff that walks into Matt's shop on coinshowradio.com. Feel free to stop by and give him some feedback. Tell me you'd like to see more. The pictures are spectacular, and the picture feature on our website, I think, is unparalleled.
It's pretty rad, isn't it?
It is pretty good. Like our page on Facebook, come and comment on one of our posts, or post something of your own. Just try and keep it coin related. You can find us either by searching The Coin Show or Coin Show Radio. Follow us on Twitter. You'll occasionally find some exclusive content there as well. You can find us or even mention us in your discussion. We are at The Coin Show. We also have an Instagram page. We're building it every day. We can be found there as The Coin Show. You can listen to our show on Spreaker.com. Just go to www.spreaker.com and search Coin Show Radio. Or you can find our show on players at various internet sites such as money.org and cointalk.com. If you'd like to host a player on your website, just email me, Mike at coinshowradio.com, for details. We've resolved the download issues, but we still urge you to discover and explore our apps. We have a Windows 8 app, and it's available in the Windows 8 phone app store. Download it several hundred times, or if you have an Android phone, we have one for you as well. Download it on Amazon.com for only $1.99. Both are bargains for your entertainment dollar and are guaranteed status symbols. And as always, our show is available for free on iTunes. You can download full versions of the show there. We urge you to do so and share it with your friends. More people continue to find us every single day and wonder why they've never listened before. Be the first among your friends to find The Coin Show. Share it with them. You'll be the trendsetter, and your jealous friends will be trend followers. So for The Coin Show, I'm Mike.
And I'm Matt.
And we'll talk to you next time on The Coin Show.
I can tell by the way you look at me that it will not be forever, but that's all right with me. But tonight
I've started drinking wine while we're doing this.
Oh, Lord.
That's okay. I like it.
I bet you do.
It's good for my heart. At least that's what I'm telling everybody.
That's my excuse.
That's right. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Where the hell is it? Oh, there it is. That's the only downside to it. Okay, I muted myself. I don't even know how the hell I did that.
I was going to say, what the hell
Something
is
happened.
going
I was sitting here. I'm listening to you. And you're just.
I was pissed.
I know. I bet you were.